Hello all, and welcome to today's Sunday Q&A. Before we kick off, we would like to say a thank you and a farewell to superhero transport manager Daniel Garumba. He can't do us anymore. His firm's got too big. He's now got like 5 lorries and all that kind of stuff, and he says to run all the lorries. He said and to do YouTube, so I just can't give you enough time. So we did a video this week. We're recruiting. We're looking for someone in the office. I'm not sure if it's full time or part time. I am talking to one guy, Matthew. Hello, Matthew, if you're watching. Who sent me a thing through, and a couple of other people I've noticed have sent things through. But now I'm kind of looking for a transport manager. I've spoken to the ministry today, and they said you've got 21 days. So I am going to have a quick chat with my mate Ian, see what he says, see if he fancies it, or knows someone who fancies it. But if you're based in the it'd be nice if you were local. Really, it's not the end of the world, because I do most of it myself, and it's all on cards and computers and stuff like that, so it can all be seen. But I was the yard's based in the kind of Dunstable area, or Bedford is another one, which is where the office is. You could do that. Dunstable would be better. I tend to deal with the trucks on the mechanical side of things and stuff. So if you're a transport manager, and if you are in the kind of Dunstable area, if you want to drop us an email, and also the office job hasn't been sealed yet. Like I say, we're speaking to a guy, but so if you could just send the emails to vangotransport@outlook.com. I'll have a look at them and we'll see what happens. We'll work it out, I'm sure. So, the introduction this week, Simon Paul Greenwood says, I'm thinking of joining the CX. I've been budgeting a running cost for over 6 weeks just to start to get some feedback. Oh, that's right. It's like any new startup, you have to market your business and can't expect to earn money from day one. If a new start thinks he's going to earn good money from day one, I don't think they're being realistic. I don't know when in introduction. I think it's because I thought he'd started and I was going to go welcome to CX, but he hasn't. So that's kind of out of order, really. And domain name guy says, I don't know why it's gone in there. Anyway, I tell you what, let's go straight in to the recruiting video. So, like I say, I put the video out. Really, just put the video out so that we could get some feedback and some guys or girls might want to do it. But I did have some interesting points that came in just on the recruitment thing, and I thought I'd share with you. Shane Hardy says, I'd love to work for you, Pete, but there's a couple of things stopping me. Not yet had any CX experience, and driver's hours, not a clue. And to top it all, I'm not based in Nottingham. Other than that, Shane, ideal person for the job, and because we'd love to have you on the firm, but we'll work it out. Domain name guy says it's an interesting job for someone with good fast admin skills, etc. Trucking and driver's hours side of things is easy enough to learn. It's not an application. You can learn the CX very quickly. You can get used to the driver's hours very quickly. You can get used to all of it. But as my mate Corners said, he said what a lot of people do. He was a big time Charlie in insurance. He said what a lot of people do is they hire someone and then they mould them into the person that they need to be. He said I don't do that. He said what I do is when I'm at an interview, I find someone who is the person that I need to have, and then I hire them. It saves you a lot of unnecessary work, and I think he's right with that. So the more skills that you've got to do with the CX, to do with knowing driver's hours, to do with planning, the better. But like I say, we're still not sure what's going on. The office is kind of doing that one. But like I say, vangotransport@outlook.com if you're interested. Godzilla says, good on you, Pete. Nice to see an expansion. It's not really so much an expansion. It's more kind of like, Alan said, I'm stuck in the office when I could be doing other things. So we're trying to get someone to take over from the office side of things so he can go out and do more other things which will earn more money. He said, just a thought to maybe help you if you recruit someone's driver's hours are the failing point of most people's experience. So stick them through the CPC. You could stick them through the driver's hours twice. You can stick again, but it comes back to the earlier Cornish thing. I could do, or I could find someone who understands driver's hours and be done with it, You then get someone, if you need be, you can be slotted into a 7.5 tonner if something special comes in. This is something else. The guy we're talking to is Class 1. So he's based a long way away. He's based in sort of Lincoln. But should the possibility be needed that he could fill in on one of the tramping vehicles for a week, that might be a thing, I don't know. I'd also like to say pick up a little van. In the downtime they could run around in little vans. We thought about that one. Yeah, Al's got a van in fairness. and pick up a company job. So yeah, it's all like I say, it's all work in progress. B. Carroll says, I've been spending more time in front of the computer lately. This could work well with me planning my 5 vans. Mate, if you're planning 5 vans, you ain't going to want to plan 5 trucks on top, are you? Because you'll be planning 10 vehicles, which can be done, I'm sure, but it's not ideal. It's hard enough to do 5. Particularly, what happens if 2 or 3 jobs all go wrong at the same time, and the phone's ringing off the hook, and you've got to try and do it. So I'd stick with. I think I'd keep your powder dry on that one. I'd just, keep your focus. I would, mate. Terry Shute says, in all the years I drove a lorry, I've never met a non-HGV licensed transport manager that was good at their job. Most of them never factored in traffic, loading and unloading times, and other issues like that arise. Yeah, this is kind of an issue. This is why we thought it would be wise to get someone who had trucking experience. It was always an annoyance for me when I was working on the markets that everybody who worked in the office, the street market trader office, had never worked on a market in their life. So when they went for the job, it's like, right, so you got a job planning markets. Have you any experience with markets? None whatsoever. Fantastic, when can you start? It was nonsense, absolute nonsense. As a result of which, they'd come up with all these ridiculous ideas that wouldn't work. They work in theory. I've said, I've got a really good idea. Because they didn't understand the markets, you go, yeah, but that doesn't work because. So, yeah. So we try and think, I think we're going down the route of someone with knowledge of the CX and knowledge of trucks would be ideal. Domain name guy says, yeah, this is kind of, I think, what I was trying to get to earlier. He says, he replied to Terry Shute's comment. He said, but that's only because planners don't overestimate the time frame of a job they get. Usually, they say it's only so far on the map, and nowadays Google Maps says it takes this long. Yeah, that is a problem, because Google Maps, if you rely on Google Maps, it doesn't take it works on the fact you're going 70 miles an hour, not 56. And yeah, as for loading times and stuff like that, you can factor in at least an hour either side, at least, kind of. And you've got to know when to book the next job. You go, well, and also a knowledge also of where it's going to. Where's it going to? It's going to Unit 5 on a business estate. Chances are that's forked straight off. It's going to Amazon. Oh Christ! I'm going to Amazon on Monday in Liverpool. I think I might be out Monday night. Yeah, so that kind of thing would really help. But we'll see how it goes. Godzilla says, because he replied to it. I'm gonna carry on because we've got a lot to get through, and these are replies. So thanks for the comment, mate. But I've got to crack on a bit here. So. Jeremy Hawkes Courier said, he says, Pete, I will come up Tuesday afternoons. I can't work out 20% of anything in my head, but I can work out that in my head. Jeremy, I look forward to seeing you, mate. Lovely. Right, so that was it on the application. So like I say, transport managers in the Dunstable area, or if you fancy a job and you've got experience of lorries and you've got experience of CX, Vango Transport at outlook.com. Send the emails and see what we can do. Right. Now, the big one this week, or the one we didn't really get too many comments on it, but in fairness, it's this thing about paying extra for the job. So when they say, I've had jobs sent through on email, I've sent jobs through on text, and this guy turned around and he said, they say, we can send you the job, but we've got to take £1 off the price. And the job's worth 350 quid, so we went, all right. But still, it's like, why? Shane Hardy says, he said, a bit of extra grief to save £2. Send it through to CX, then you can barter with a shipper that if they want to swallow the £2, I'd like to think about quoting £2 extra to be safe. You should get one of the shippers that wants not the £2 over. I think if it became a regular issue, then we'd probably have to come up with, a more permanent thing. But like, as Van on the Run says, he says, I'm not on the CX anymore, but it's never happened to me in 3 years I was on there. I would say that the shippers either need to upgrade their membership or swallow the extra cost on the job. They are being measly to pass it on. But given the current supply of drivers, they can get away with it at the moment. Like to say that it just creates a lot more work for whoever does the job. Also, there's no recourse through the CX should there be a dispute over payment, etc. A shipper even suggesting this would made me think twice about doing a job for them. Yeah, always when it came up with me, I kind of went, okay. I always had the problem was because they didn't want to put the details on the CX because they were frightened that one of the firms that actually uses the CX platform, subcontracts it off the CX, could see their jobs and go and nick them, which was another reason why they didn't do it. But it doesn't happen often. I don't think it's too much of a big deal. And Luke Van Gap says, "Is that? I've always wondered if that is Gap. Is it Gap or Gap?" It's a bit like the eBay sellers asking if you want to pay cash directly rather than doing it through eBay PayPal. You might save a quid or so, but you lose the protection of the system, which provides all the feedback and traceability. Not worth saving, I would say. He said, as others have said, it's beyond cheeky to even ask the driver to swallow the fee. I'd avoid shippers like that. I don't think it's going to be an ongoing thing, guys. You know, I think it's kind of a something and nothing. So I think I'll be all right. You know, still just want to know anyone else has suffered it. So, right, the wise guys. I'll change that now. The wise guys this week. Yeah, a few questions. Quite a few actually. So you know, get your thinking caps on, everybody. White Van Man. He says. Personally, I didn't have much trouble this summer. It's a question I do have. What does everyone use for sleeping when they're tramping? He said, I've been through a multitude of air beds. They're not up to the job. They punch you too easily. Got a camp bed last week, which would have been great, but it was just too big when folded up, so I returned it. He said, I'm in an L2 small van. I keep the rear completely empty for loads, so all my stuff is kept in the passenger seat area, seats folded down. So there simply wasn't enough space for a large camp bed. I remember there was a guy who I was speaking to when we kind of started this, so I forget his name now. He always recommended a cart bed. He said, you want the one with 6 legs, not the one with 4 legs, because that sags in the middle. But again, I think you're going to have the same problem. It takes up too much room. The other one is, I did a video a while back. Oh, that was right. The Mercedes Hotel with a hammock. You can have hammocks, and you could potentially string a hammock up in the back. I imagine in a small van it wouldn't get too cold in the back. And in the summer, of course, it's not too much of an issue. That's a possibility. I'm trying to think how much room you'd have in the back of a small van. It's got to be, what, a metre? Even if you swing it from corner to corner, that's a possible. I don't know, because that folds up into a very small bag. But yeah, anybody, if we can help White Van Man out, what I do, if you're tramping in a small van, what's the best way? You know, kind of thing. Again, like foam mattresses and stuff like that, but they're going to take up too much space. Steve Campbell, because we did on the Eastern Bloc drivers, you know, the ones that you see the whole vans where they're all curtained up. He said, I was told by a Polish driver in a curtain van, he drives loads from Poland to UK. He very rarely gets a load directly going back, but what he does is he gets loaded, linked together, such as Liverpool to Ashford, then somewhere in Kent to France, and France to Germany, and then Germany into Poland. I think they can do maybe a week's worth of runs in the UK VW T5. Oh, and the VW T5 is the equivalent of Mercedes Vito. Are you allowed to do that? We did the cabotage one. I'm not sure in that one you're actually allowed to do kind of Liverpool to Ashford. Is that not cabotage? You're not allowed to do that, but not sure. They're going to do what they're going to do, and obviously it's very difficult to police, and everyone's got to make money, so well, they're going to do it. So Godzilla's also says, he said on the Foreign Luton curtain side, he said the lads are driving from all sorts of places that are simply drivers for a company. Right. They are shot off a lot of its parts from Europe to the UK with the owners of the vans happy to grab any load possible to circle back around when they get into places such as Germany or Switzerland to earn them a few extra quid. They source work out of VRS places. I don't know what a VRS place is. You might have to fill me in on that one. The names of which I'm not going to reveal. You can't. As if you really want this work, then due to diligence, it simply floods the markets and he wouldn't encourage it. So yeah, that's kind of... We're still not 100% sure what's going on there, but yeah, getting stuff about. Oh right, and on the I said about sat navs. But sometimes a sat nav can, if you're very unlucky, take you, even if you were going, say for example, you were going from Watford to Southend or something like that. There is a possibility that it could take you into London, round the North Circular, and out of London again. It wouldn't be wise, but there is. So although you're not going into London, you still go into the zone. Steve says. He says you can avoid you can set sat navs to avoid zones. I've been using Synergic. Now, that Synergic is a truck sat nav, which is like on your mobile. It ain't cheap. You know, it's got like a subscription fee of like £20-30 a month. And I thought, for to have on your phone, I never said it to me. But having said that, it's handy. You can train it to avoid zones. I don't know anyone you can. I know Road Lords doesn't seem to do it. So you could, because that would be handy if you see a job come up and you put it in and it goes, oh, that's a zone. Yeah. But Waze and stuff like that doesn't seem to do it. It sometimes comes up with tolls. I went over the Humber Bridge. Never been over the Humber Bridge before. £14 to drive over a bridge. Still got me to my job on time. Sergio Florine says, hi all, I've been told, right, it's to do with CX membership, guys. One van, owner driver, the subscription is £1,900. I don't know what they're charging now. For 12 months. Apparently I got a deal at $12,700 for up to 5 vans and 2 apps. Is it priced individually or are those the prices? I'm not sure, my friend. The only thing I would say, always get the cheapest possible. If you only needed 1 van, I would have got 1 van. I wouldn't have paid extra now for other vans. I mean, if you need 5 vans, well, then that doesn't sound too dear to me, to be honest with you. 12.7, it's still not cheap, is it? But for 5 vans, but I would only taken that. I wouldn't have thought, well, I'll get it now and I'll use them in the future. I'd have just got the cheapest one now and renegotiated with them later. They're always happy to up the price. They never want to down it. And the final question for the Wise Guys this week is Addy the Real Slim Shady says, when you receive a job through the CX, what is the difference when you get it between you have to accept it or it comes in as on my way to pick up? It doesn't normally come through as on my way to pick up. It normally either comes through as a job and you have to click on my way to pick up or accept. I think it's something you can do as a shipper in the settings, that when you send the jobs out, you can turn around and say, do you want to just receive the job, or do you want them to actually have to physically accept the job? Which means if you send someone a job and an hour later they're not there and you go, where are you? And go, oh, I didn't even know you sent me it. But that's why phone calls work. You say, I'm going to send a job through to you now, and you ring them, are you still available? How far away are you? I'm going to send it through now. Whereas the accept thing, you can turn around and say, well, you must have known it was there because you accepted it. So I think that's what that's all about. But as again, if anyone out there knows better than me, and I'm sure you probably do, stick it in the comments and we shall get back to Addy next week. So we've got a few on trucks this week. Van on the Run says, he said, at times, now I agree with him on this, at times the tacho can have the opposite of the intended effect. People in a mad rush to get back to the yard, etc., really pushing it. That was me today. I got back to the yard on 4 hours 25 minutes. I've done that loads. I got back like 4 hours 29 since my last break. The worrying thing was I was told by my transport manager on the phone, if there is any further delays, I'd have to take it. No, I told my transport manager on the phone, if there's any further delays, I'd have to take a 45-minute break, and he told me, just take your card out. You're not far from the yard. No. As Nick the Urban Trucker gives a quick response to this, he said, I can't believe your transport manager told you to remove your card and carry on driving. That's one of the biggest no-nos going. If you're caught driving without your tacho in, it's classed as falsifying tachograph records. You, the company, and the transport manager will be in front of the traffic commissioner. If you had done this and said you were caught driving that tachograph, I guarantee your transport manager would deny all knowledge, and I'm sure he probably would. Yes, no, absolutely. You're better off if you ever find yourself in that situation. If you infringe, you just leave the card in, infringe, and then write no safe place to stop, or didn't make it back to the yard in time. You might get away with it once, or you might get away with it maybe once every 6 months. But if you did it on a regular basis, no, they wouldn't like it. It's just one of them things. I've ended up, so how many times have I had to stop at Toddington, despite the fact I had 15 minutes left in my clock and the yard was 20 minutes away. And I've had to sit there for half hour. You just got to go, it is what it is. Put the phone on, put the telly on, put your feet up. Half an hour can go pretty quickly, and then you're just back to the yard. But it is frustrating. I know, and I know what you mean, like thinking, right, that light's orange, I'm going straight. Because if I just carry on, I've got 3 minutes left, and if I stop there, it's going to go down, sort of. Yeah, it is I mean, obviously, the driver's hours are there for a reason, to keep people safe, to stop people running tired, to stop people falling asleep at the wheel and just driving for 2 days and then crashing the lorry into a shop or something like that. But at the same time, I agree with you, there are limitations. And Mitch at Bullion Freight says, looking forward to how you afforded the trucks video. Mitch, I have recorded it. I've just got to work out when to put it out. I recorded a few because I was waiting for an hour before I could get onto a base. So sometimes I record them in batches. I've got an hour. I'll record the questions, but I'm not going to put them all out in one go because it'd drive you all mad. So yeah, it's on its way, mate. It's on its way. Right, the Antiques Van Show. If you have an old van, or you're running in an old van, or you know someone with an old van, it probably will go. This is probably a new regular feature of the channel, which will go nowhere. But I thought we'd do it while it lasts, like, So Leachy said, Pete, my van, because he said he had an old van. It was a VW Transporter T5 short wheelbase. It may be old, but I've just returned from my holiday after 2 months and it started straight away with no problems. That's lovely. I like old vans. Computers, you end up with that's like a Christmas tree. I like the old ones where you can fix them with, like, a kettle and a piece of string. Yeah, fantastic. Anyone else notice the prices of tyres were shot up? I don't know. He's got a question for the wise guys regarding tramping. What does everybody do in the middle of summer when it's baking hot? I don't fancy kipping in a metal tin box with all the doors closed, especially if you have a job on board. Yeah, you can't sleep in the back. Don't know. There you go. Maybe it's kind of a tent. I don't know the answer to that. So, yeah, normally if you're in a lorry, you see, you've either got to sleep in the designated bed at the back, or you've got to sleep in a hotel. You can't sleep in a van. You're not allowed to, because you wouldn't get a proper night's rest, and then you've got to drive a truck in the morning. So, Razu says the T5 model is a transporter made from 2003 to 2010, so it's not as old as the old LTs. And Godzilla says, old vans, he said, it wasn't long ago I sold my VW T4 Razorback, that's an interesting name for a van. You either know or you don't, to be fair. Worth a Google. Yes, the back was working. It was a good van for picking up motorbikes, but there was no way of strapping them down. Yeah, it causes a bit of a problem, that one, doesn't it, really? But yeah, so old vans. If you got an old van, you're running an old van, let us know. If not, it will probably just fade away, which is absolutely fine too. And so we're on to the miscellaneous, which, yeah, this week, Buy says, if you think the ULEZ is bad, Khan is about to bring in road pricing once all the cameras are... I know, it's absolutely ludicrous, this kind of stuff. I did do a video on this, which is like sign the petition video. I have, Nick the Urban Trucker has put me in touch with... there's a mob on Facebook. They've got like 33,000 subscribers. I mean, the petition you can sign if you like that. But more importantly, and I want to do a video on that one. I've taken a photo of what it is and what the firm's called, and I'll try and do a link and we'll get it onto it. Because anything that we can do to like put our power behind it to stop it, it's poor people's tax under the guise of ecology. And I think we've already ascertained the fact that it's not even environmental. It's not about the environment, because it's not based on the emissions that are coming out of your van. It's based on how new your van is. So if you've got a Euro 5 van that's putting out less carbon dioxide emissions than some Euro 6s, you've still got to get rid of it. And it's not like you can can test them easily. So I just don't believe it. I just get frustrated. Hong Kong Fooey said, this is quite good. I haven't seen it. So can you do a link? He says, watch the video of the guy walking into the zone with a license plate on his back. Need a few thousand to do the same. He says, it'll be an admin nightmare. I like the idea of that. So they go like, you've been in the zone. Like, yeah, what kind of vehicle's he in? Presumably the number plate would be linked to his vehicle, so he must have taken the number plate off his car. They'd probably just go, yes, very funny, don't do it again. But I would like to see that. Domain name guy says... he says the courier industry will struggle. Oh, right, yes. Now, the courier industry will struggle because of YouTube couriers, because it's not having a pop. Because the thing is, we can get paid from YouTube. So we can if you're big enough, if you're like one of these truck vlogging people that's big enough, you're probably making more money off the videos than you are running a truck. That's not me, by the way. And incidentally, mate, I've done your little video on that one, so, be wary of what you see on YouTube, but yeah, that's coming up. I did that when I had all that time. And one of the guys said about speed cameras. This is interesting. This is he said I got hit with one of these a few years ago on a speed camera thing. He said, and then 2 or 3 years later, I got a letter for another. He said, I requested to see the footage from the camera because I knew I hadn't been speeding on this particular road. After lots of phone calls and written letters, they finally sent me through a letter of apology with a ridiculous excuse saying it was a mistake. In other words, they made the nonsense up and tried to pull a fast one. That was in 2005. I haven't had a speed awareness course letter since. Just wondering how many people just accept it thinking they were speeding when actually they probably weren't even on the camera. It's interesting that. I don't know, have the cameras got better? I just try not to speed, to be honest with you. And finally, in conclusion this week, Raxion said, he says, because I've done one before on safety boots. And he said, Elton Safety Footwear, excellent products, hard wearing, high quality and comfortable. Wouldn't use any other brand. Well, the Timberlands are now in use. I've now got me Christmas present off the in-laws. So now we got the Timberland ballast in use, and I've done a video on it. You'll be pleased to know I've gone video mad recently. So, and that's kind of one of them Life on the Road videos. I've been mucking around with cameras and stuff like that. So it's all coming out on the channel soon. Yeah, so like I say, I probably won't do more than one a week because it gets a little bit tedious, and also it takes me if I can do lots of like the question and answer videos, which don't take so long, it gives me more time to do the occasional Life on the Road one, which takes ages. Anyhow, so that's it. I hope you're all out there taking money. Hope everything is sort of well, and don't forget that the clocks go back yesterday, or the clocks have gone back, and you put your clock back because I think it's time. You don't want to turn up early or late for a job on Monday, do you really? And because Monday is a time for us all to get back on the road and take care and take money.